Welcome to Todd Talk. Today I'm going to tell you about the time I got into a push-up contest.
Todd Talk is brought to you by Blarm Co. The peopling people.
So in 2008, I had been divorced for about 3 years. I spent a couple of years being kind of mopey and kind of lost and trying out a lot of new things, hanging out with different people and trying to kind of reinvent myself or find myself. And by about 2008, I was kind of getting into a pretty good rhythm. It was probably the most healthy and unhealthy point of my entire life. So I was running every night. I would go for a run for a couple of miles. I would go backpacking. I would go hiking. I was really very active. I also was going out a lot, and a couple of nights a week, I would close down the bars. There till close, and sometimes even later. So there was one bar in particular that was called the Morrison Hotel. It was in Southeast Portland, really close to the river. Pretty cool part of town where there was lots of bars and restaurants and strip clubs and breweries, that sort of thing. It's all condos now, but back then it was a really cool part of town. The Morrison Hotel was the best type of dive bar. Great jukebox, great bartenders, really funny regulars that were there all the time, myself included, and just a really cool space. Every time I hear Kids by MGMT or SOS by ABBA, my brain immediately goes back to the Morrison Hotel. And I wouldn't describe it as Doors themed, but there was a picture of Jim Morrison in there. It was definitely somewhere that he would hang out. There were two bartenders that were always there. I should probably change their names for the sake of the video. So we'll say there was Peter and there was Mary. Peter was a little bit younger, just a goofy dude, a little bit of a stoner, hilarious, just the best sense of humor, great bartender. And there was a bartender named Mary, and she and I were about the same age and had a lot of things in common, so we would always just kind of hang out and talk. There were some times when Mary would close the bar, and I would stick around after the bar closed, and we would have a couple of drinks even after everybody had gone. So Mary, like myself, would run and would go for hikes, that sort of thing, so we would talk about a lot of that kind of stuff. And there was one night in particular, I was in there, and we were talking, and I was mentioning that, I wasn't really into going into the gym and that sort of thing. And while my legs and, lower body were in great shape from running and hiking and all that, my upper body was sort of being neglected. And I had mentioned that I had found an app that over several weeks would train you how to do 100 push-ups in a row. And I was mentioning that I was into it a couple of weeks and I could do 50 push-ups in a row. So about this time, Peter, who had the night off, wanders in. He's been out all day drinking and is staggering around, just being loud and obnoxious. And he hears me say this, and he says, "I challenge you to a push-up contest." So I accept, and I get down there on the ground, and I work my way through 50 push-ups as best I can. Then Peter's like, "Okay, I can do this. I can do twice as many." And he then gets down on the ground, and he's kind of a scrappy little guy. So he starts just kind of powering through them. And after about 10, 15 push-ups, he gets a little bit cocky, and he tries to do the push-up with a clap in between. And when he does the clap, he comes straight down, and his face smashes into the ground. He leaps up, and there on the ground are his two front teeth. He runs off to the bathroom. Everybody is horrified at what's going on, and Mary and I look at each other, not sure whether to laugh or to cry or just not say anything. We eventually organized a little fundraiser to put together some money so Peter could get some dental work done, and he eventually got crowns on his two front teeth. But for about 2 weeks, every time I went in there and saw him, he was missing the bottom half of his two front teeth. Just looked horrible. The Morrison Hotel is not there anymore, and Mary is not around anymore, and I don't think I could do 50 push-ups anymore. But that night, and those two white teeth sitting on that black concrete floor will forever be etched into my mind.